the day we set loose the plague upon. Humanity was not born of recklessness or malice but of deliberate desperation. From my station aboard the command craft hidden in orbit above their blue and green world, I watched through the live feed their thriving cities soon to be engulfed in turmoil. My name is Escher, a virologist of the Earth, entrusted with shaping what my people viewed as our last resort in a long silent struggle. We are prepared, Ashar declared, my aide Thorn, his voice calm, a sharp contrast to the storm building inside me. I gave a slow nod, my hand hovering over the console that would scatter an invisible tempest across Earth. Commence release sequence W. On, I ordered, masking the weight in my tone, as the dispersal pods slipped unnoticed into the planet's skies. I recalled the endless councils, the arguments, and the searching of souls that had carried us here, our homeworld. Taya, once lush and overflowing with life, now barely sustained us. Humanity's unchecked expansion through interstellar mining had unwittingly unleashed foreign plagues and invasive growths that shattered our balance. Appeals to slow their spread collapsed in translation and bureaucracy. The agent we crafted was meant not to slay but to weaken, to force negotiations by halting their momentum. It spared their young in a twisted reflection of our own creed that nothing rises above protecting offspring. When the first reports surfaced in our feeds, I felt the weight. Hospitals overflowed with strange illnesses, severe fevers marked by paralyzing fatigue. Broadcasts across their networks named it the lassitude plague. We succeeded. They will have to heed us, Thorn whispered, watching humanity falter. Yet I stayed still, my eyes fixed on the screens where families tended to their fallen, a reminder of the line we had crossed. Weeks slipped by and the plague spread exactly as modeled. Great cities slowed to silence and their mining fleets in our belts began to weaken as workers collapsed or returned to protect loved ones. Then an unexpected message arrived. The humans had traced the pathogen's true origin. A direct communication from Earth's defense secretary flashed upon our command display. To the Earth leaders he began, his voice firm yet edged with weariness. We know the source of this plague. We urge immediate contact before hostility spirals beyond. Return the message signaled a turning point, the opening we needed, though it brought no triumph. The council gathered and I was summoned again to explain the pathogen and its design. Are we ready to meet them? To speak, one counselor asked, his words echoing through the chamber. We have no alternative, I replied. We have begun this confrontation, now we must guide it toward peace. The choice was made to open talks. I, as their chosen envoy, joined our delegation of diplomats and scientists, preparing to step onto Earth. The weight of our task pressed heavily, every action carved into consequence. The descent was heavy with dread as our shuttle cut through clouds. I saw their settlements sprawling among green fields and shining seas, a thriving world we had stained with shadow. Upon arrival we were met not with blades but with guarded courtesy. Human envoys in formal dress ushered us to the United Nations, a hall where their kind had long sought to mend divisions. The chamber was vast, flags of their nations lined the walls. At its head the defense secretary awaited, his advisors at his side, his gaze locked with mine as we sat across from one another. Escher of Taya, he addressed firmly, your people's hand has brought us here under dire terms. We are prepared to hear and understand your plight. Let us find a way forward that saves your world without crushing ours. As they listened, I unfolded our suffering, showing the blight of Taya caused by their relentless works. Images of our forests dying and waters spoiled filled the hall. This plague was never forged as a weapon of conquest but a desperate beacon. Where words had failed, I declared steady, we seek renewal, balance, survival for both our peoples. The humans in turn listened. The talks that unfolded were tense and weighed down by recent suffering, yet glimmers of hope emerged. We bargained, debated, and step by step carved the outline of a ceasefire and a pact of mutual support. The humans agreed to suspend their mining and contribute to the revival of Taya while we shared our knowledge of advanced restoration methods. As the hours dragged deep into the night, a draft was completed, a fragile promise of peace born out of despair. When I placed my mark upon it, the weight of both regret and necessity pressed down. The path of mending was only beginning for Taya and for the new bond with Earth. As dawn broke, ending a long negotiation, a tentative peace stood. Human delegates, weary but relieved, clasped our hands, a gesture I had grown to respect. Within me surged both relief and daunting responsibility. This treaty was but the first step. The true test lay ahead in the choices each side would make. Our return to Taya was somber, every envoy sunk in thoughts of the consequences we had set in motion. When the twin suns of home poured light into our vessel, I felt both comfort and unease. How would our people respond to the act of unleashing a plague for defense? The answer came swiftly. On landing, we were met not only by the council but by citizens whose glowing patterns shimmered with doubt and curiosity. Word of our mission had spread, and all eyes now judged its outcome. As the High Counselor welcomed me, his tone was measured. The reports from Earth speak of a turning tide. You must address the people, explain the choices taken. Standing before my kin, I recounted everything: the ruin of our world, the unanswered pleas, the drastic step we had chosen, and the fragile accord achieved. Most importantly, I spoke of the chance for renewal and survival with human aid. Their response was divided, colors of anger, fear, and hope pulsing across the crowd. Some condemned the use of biology as a tool of leverage, others brightened at the vision of restoration. In the weeks ahead, teams of human experts arrived, fulfilling their promise. They brought methods and devices unknown to us, and a genuine will to repair what was harmed. Watching our species work side by side in labs and fields alike, a cautious optimism stirred within me. Yet conflict brewed at home, fierce debates in the council questioned if peace had cost us our honor. But as the land began to recover, their doubts softened, replaced by resolve for unity. I split my days between Earth and Taya, ensuring both sides kept their word. On Earth, I witnessed a shift, humanity's view of us evolving from fear into recognition of shared destiny. No longer invaders but partners in endurance. As ecosystems healed, trust did too. Missions expanded beyond science into cultural exchange. Tayan youth studied Earth's oceans while human children learned of our twin sunsets and glowing flora. Many years later, I stood again in the halls of the United Nations, this time not as a desperate envoy but as a welcomed guest. My gaze fell upon a plaque honoring the Earth Taya Accord. Its inscription spoke clear: let this stand as proof that even from ruin peace can be forged, that even the deepest wounds may heal. The Secretary General's words during the anniversary rang through the chamber. The applause that followed swelled like the sound of a new future. As I joined them, my mind drifted to those harrowing days when the plague was released. Had we been right to force their hand? The doubt may never fade, yet the lush forests of Taya reborn, and the thriving cities of Earth now respectful of their alien allies carried a quiet answer. Peace had come at a terrible cost, yet it had arrived. And as I looked upon the vast sea of faces, both human and Earth, I understood we had gained more than survival. We had forged true unity. Our shared legacy was a world renewed, two species bound not by a virus but by the life we chose to grow together.